Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to unpack the hidden architecture of the banking system. Okay, let's just dive right into this because today we are exploring how a financial institution's treatment of you scales ruthlessly and honestly predictably with your net worth. It is a fascinating and, well, sometimes pretty harsh reality check on how the system actually operates behind closed doors.
Right off the bat, we have to establish the core thesis of our journey today. Simply put, the bank doesn't care who you are. As a customer, you never actually change. Your personality, your work ethic, your character, none of that matters to them. Only your balance does. The bank's math alone dictates your reality, and that math determines exactly how much humanity you're actually afforded.
So here's the game plan. We are going to climb from literally $0 all the way up to $25 million. We'll look at exactly how your bank treats you across 8 distinct levels of wealth, watching how the rules completely rewrite themselves as the commas in your bank account increase.
Part 1, the penalty for being broke. Let's start right at the bottom, down in the trenches, where the bank acts a whole lot less like a service and way more like a punisher for those struggling to stay afloat. It usually starts with a simple inciting incident, a negative $4 balance. Maybe it's a coffee you forgot was scheduled to charge. But the bank doesn't care that it was just $4. The system only sees the math, and the math says you went under. And this triggers a practically inescapable trap. This incredibly quickly builds into an agonizing cascade of fees, because the absolute worst penalty for being broke is that you become even more broke. That $4 mistake instantly triggers a $35 overdraft fee. Then, when a forgotten $7 subscription hits, boom, that's another $35. You're suddenly negative $77 over a cup of coffee. You call to explain, but you're just stuck listening to looping hold music until a scripted voice tells you no refunds are possible. The very next day, your rent bounces. Bam, $75 late fee. Your phone bill fails, another $25. Your tiny $4 mistake is now $200 deep and growing in directions you literally never authorized.
Now, let's say you manage to claw your way back. You work 20 hours of overtime, you skip meals, and you finally get your account to a positive $200. You walk into the physical branch. Picture the contrast here. The teller helps the customer ahead of you with this warm, genuine smile, asking all about their kids. But the second you step up with your $200 balance, you become a totally different category of person. That warm smile, it instantly becomes a trained, cold, professional line. You are processed in exactly 40 seconds in total silence. You're basically just moved through the system like luggage on a conveyor belt. You exist on their books, sure, but you do not exist in their attention.
Part 2, becoming a profitable category.
So things finally begin to change when you hit a certain threshold. Once you have a steady direct deposit pushing your balance to, say, $2,000, you are no longer invisible. You become a predictable, profitable profile, and the bank realizes they can actually sell things to you. You start getting those fancy credit card offers printed with metallic ink in the mail. But watch what happens when you reach $15,000. The price of money gets significantly cheaper. A car loan rate suddenly drops from 11% down to 6.8%. And that soul-crushing 40-minute hold time? Completely gone. You get a direct line to an assigned relationship banker. And the crazy part is, you didn't even negotiate any of this. You just stopped being a statistical risk. And get this, at the $15,000 tier, those exact same maintenance and overdraft fees that mercilessly drained your account when you were broke, they suddenly become completely optional. A simple, quick email to your new relationship banker, and a $32 fee is magically reversed in 3 hours. There's no form to fill out, no robotic phone tree asking you to press 0, no scripts, just a short, polite reply saying it's, quote, taken care of. The system didn't change at all. Your tier did.
Part 3, crossing the velvet rope. As we move higher, crossing that $80,000 mark, we officially cross the velvet rope. You are shifting from being merely a profitable customer to becoming a protected asset. You get slapped with the label preferred client. But remember, you didn't earn this title. Your number earned it. Suddenly, your banker learns details about your life, like where your sister lives or what day your birthday is. It feels incredibly personal, but honestly, it's just corporate training. They know small things keep accounts. And if a competitor offers you a better rate, your bank counters within the hour. They aren't just serving you anymore, they are actively defending you from leaving. Then we hit the big leagues, the $500,000 tier. This is where the white glove treatment really kicks into high gear. The bank stops being a physical place you have to visit. It becomes a service that comes directly to you. Your wealth manager will literally drive to your office, handing you leather-bound reports. Frozen wire transfers? Fixed on the second ring, absolutely zero hold music. You're invited to private exclusive dinners with sweeping city views where money isn't even mentioned. At this point, money is just the table you're sitting at. It's not the conversation.
Which brings us to a profound psychological shift. At this level of wealth, they aren't aggressively pushing products on you anymore. Instead, they're providing in-depth 90-minute estate and tax reviews. Why? Because a product is something they want you to buy once, but a consultation, that's something they want you to absolutely need forever. By making themselves indispensable to your wealth over time, your total reliance on them becomes far, far more valuable than any one-off sale.
Part 4. When rules bend for you.
Now we enter the uppermost echelons. This is where standard institutional rules are just completely thrown out the window and private banking takes over. At $5 million, you don't just have a banker, you have a private banker. And that is a highly specific, coveted title inside the institution. This person manages fewer than 20 accounts in total, and yours happens to be one of them. You are escorted into quiet conference rooms with absolutely no corporate logos on the doors, discussing private, exclusive investments that will never, ever appear on a public prospectus. The entire machinery of the bank completely changes for you. For an everyday regular customer, complex paperwork might take 2 full weeks to process. But in private banking, at $5 million, that exact same paperwork gets fast-tracked and handled in 48 hours, simply because someone was told whose account it is. Minimums on investments? Waived. Rates? Heavily negotiated. The bank no longer follows the rules, they literally bend them to accommodate you. And then we arrive at the absolute peak, $25 million. At this incredible level, you don't have a banker, you have a relationship. And that relationship is a named line item on a top executive's performance review. If you get mad and pull your account, actual careers at the institution could be derailed. I mean, think about the ultimate flex of this banking architecture. You don't apply for things at $25 million. Things apply for you. Deals at this stage are entirely bespoke. The terms of a massive investment are drafted to fit your specific timeline, and lucrative opportunities are brought directly to your desk long before they are ever made publicly available. The entire institution basically organizes itself around the single goal of not losing you. Part 5. The Grand Illusion. We really have to take a step back and look at the escalating narrative we've just covered, because the stark cruelty at the bottom and the reality-bending service at the top, they are part of the exact same design. Let's contrast the two absolute ends of the spectrum. At $25 million, you are essentially a partner. The bank's chief investment officer might literally fly across the country just to consult you and ask your opinion on emerging markets to shape their future products. But simultaneously, at that exact same second, another customer at the exact same bank is sitting on hold, listening to looping synthesizer music, desperately trying to reverse a $35 fee for a $4 overdraft. The bank serves one while actively, mathematically punishing the other for not having enough. This is the inverted hero's journey we all have to realize. From -$4 all the way to $25 million, you are the exact same person at every single balance. You didn't magically become a better human being when you got rich, and you certainly weren't a worse one when you were broke. The bank just decides who you are based entirely on what numbers sits next to your name. The bank doesn't change at every level, the math does. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. If the exact same institution that charges a struggling customer a brutal penalty for being broke is using that money to fund white-glove private dinners for its wealthiest partners, well, then the system isn't actually broken. It is working exactly as designed. But you really have to ask yourself, who was it truly built for?